Hello all, welcome back to BattleTech RogueTech, of course game operator and narrator Soul. Today is going to be a shop day. Whether or not we actually get a match in, like obviously I want to get a match in because we need to test things. That being said, today is going to be one of those days where it's just going to be nice, slow, relaxing. We're going to do a little bit of math, a little bit of back and forth. Thank you to everyone who actually dropped their comments into the comments section of the last video about what they had in mind, what could potentially be up for grabs when it comes down to builds. All of them are great suggestions. Unfortunately, we can only work with what we have. So we will try and see what we got. First things first, let's swing by the mech bay and let us stop all progress on everything that's going on here. We haven't proceeded or advanced any days since the last episode. I did buy an upper recoil plus that was in the shop. I'm not gonna say sorry for that one. That one is kind of a nice grab, so in the meantime though, we are going to have to make a choice. We're gonna leave the Ajax to get repaired, and we're gonna leave the Marauder to get repaired. But as you can see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We have 9 mechs on the field. The most we can ever field is 8. Obviously, we want to keep the Ajax. I know there's been a lot of suggestions about bringing it out in the field. I'm not exactly well-versed in VTOLs, so I'm kind of hesitant about bringing that in, especially seeing how it's going to have to take a slot somewhere in our lance in order to actually fit in. But I have absolutely no qualms about picking away at it and making it better, making it faster. Especially seeing how search and rescue missions seem to be, well, at least on this playthrough, back up to 100% whenever someone ejects. So we're going to definitely have something in our back pocket to think about. The other thing is the Bane. The Bane. We built it because we had it, and we fielded it exactly once, and my god, the repair bill on that thing was absolutely insane. Same thing with the Marauder. This is what happens when you get up to around the 100-ton mark. With armor repair enabled, it becomes a terrifying slog getting these things repaired, especially like in our case, our mech tech is at 36. Ideally, it would be in the 40s somewhere. But we haven't really been finding too much for pilots. That kind of really brings something to the field that we really need. So that might be something too that we're going to have to think about, is going back through our stock, our stable, sorry, of pilots, and kind of making some hard choices about who we want to keep and who we want to get rid of. If they bring nothing to the lance, you know, it's one of those things where I might go, you know, I'm sorry, but it's time to go. And I'll have to keep an eye out for better and bigger things. But that might be something that we do slowly over the course of time as we find more pilots at different planets. For now, though, let's focus on what we want to do. Right off the bat, we have to make a decision exactly how many units we're going to have up and running. Right now, like I said, we have 9. But technically speaking, we have 11 active units. And I don't think the Bane deserves a spot in our lance. I really don't. Having a 100-tonner is bad enough, and having it be our what's the word for it? I guess our C3 master unit is aggravating, because we're usually stuck on that thing getting repaired and waiting for it to really field the lance back to 100%. Does that mean at some point we might switch out the Marauder for something a little bit better? Potentially. And we talked about before about maybe getting, you know, a Zeus. Where is it? 85 ton. We have 2 parts of a Zeus X. This thing is a beast. It has a lot of nice built-in components. And a bunch of damage reduction, which is very, very nice. Plus, it has a bunch of bonuses to being a Lance Commander. Fortunately, we haven't really run across any more Zeus parts. We're not going to find it fighting the clans. We will find it fighting the government, though. But that becomes a question of whether or not the government actually fields more Zeus X's. Yeah. Well, with my life. That being said, too, we could actually start looking to ramp up for more 100-tonners. So we could strip the Bane out of some essential parts. Like, say, for example, seeing as we don't have a C3 unit for the other Jaguar, we could strip that. Coolant systems we could strip out. And honestly, the battle computers and the sensors we could strip too. We could strip that too, if we want, like the upper recoil plus. So far, there's not really much that really needs it. And if memory serves, I believe we have 2 more in stock now. We do. So if we find something that could use it, we have enough here stashed to actually make it a deal. So we might just do that. We'll leave everything else. Well, maybe we'll take the mass medium and the advanced optics too. Not doing anyone any favors sitting here. Now we'll pull the advanced targeting computer. $6,500 just to get it, the part stripped. I think that's fine.
Logged and noted.
And we'll just worry about the Bane at a later date. Now, there was another suggestion about maybe getting the other Timberwolf patched back up instead of spending the time on getting these Jaguars fitted out. I'll tell you right now, if we were to go into a Timberwolf and strip all of our equipment, you can do that by hitting Control-Shift and clicking on the strip equipment. That just pulls all the weapons right off the machine. And then we can pull the other random stuff too. In reality, we get... Yeah, that solves nothing. So in reality, we have 30 tons we can play with. That is a thing, I guess you could say. We're going to revert our changes back. But let's go to the Jaguar and have a look at it. Do the same thing. And see exactly what we're going to be playing with. Strip up all our weapons, pull the computers. Yeah, let's pull the heat sinks too. So in reality, we're not exactly gaining too much between the 65-ton Jaguar and the 75-ton Wolf. Mainly because the Wolf has a 375 engine. So any weight you would have gained or any sort of tonnage you would have gained by going up from 65 to 75 was offset by the built-in core. So in reality, you don't really gain a whole lot by switching from the Jaguars to Wolves. That kind of sucks. It really does. So, we have a life choice to make. We want the Marauder or some sort of unit to be with our Lance at all times because we need a command mech. It's the only way we make all of our C3 units hum. So, we have to pull something in order to make room for the Marauder. And at this point, I think we have to pull the Timberwolf. That way, let's see if I can go ahead and get my ideal setup here. We have our C3 Master. We have a Warhawk. We have the Ryoken. We have our 2 archers, our Rifleman, and our 2 Jaguars. And that, ideally, would be our full drop Lance, with vehicle support, obviously. So, with that being said, that means that we can potentially scavenge all the gear out of the Timberwolf and disperse it amongst the rest of the Lance. And the best part is, it's a Timberwolf, it's an Omni. We can actually store this and then bring it back without actually having to spend a whole lot of money to field the unit again. Timberwolf itself does all right. It's like 294 damage. It's not bad, but compared to the rest of the Lance, it is underperforming. And yes, even compared to the Warhawk that actually didn't technically fire during the one time it was fielded, the Timberwolf has movement on the Warhawk. That's about all it has. And even then, that's not much. Certainly lacks the firepower. So, that is our goal. We're going to strip the Timby. We're going to put the rest of the parts to the rest of the lance and see what could actually be made better using that parts. And we may do some work on the Jaguars just to give them a tweak and get them back up and running a little bit better. There's been some suggestions about switching out the stealth unit from the G to the B. There's really no big difference for doing that, because all we're doing is making one more stealthy at the cost of removing the stealth from the other one. So if we find another stealth unit, yes, that would be ideal. We slap that on the other Jaguar, and I think that'd be great. But in reality, switching one stealth unit from one Jaguar to the other Jaguar solves not really much of anything at the moment. Plus, you know, the G has a little bit nicer stuff in it, and we are going to spend a little bit more time getting this tweaked. Like, for example, I think we actually finally have enough ammunition here where... Yes, we have 4 bins of clan now. So, technically speaking, we should actually be able to switch over to clan launchers and maybe add some additional weaponry to the Jag and make it a little bit better of a backstabber. Yes, we're going to lose the IS types of ammo we have currently built in, but I think, like with the accuracy, what's the word for it? The changes in accuracy between the ammo types doesn't really help the Jaguar much at the moment. That was a mistake. Let's go back to the mech bay. While I misclick everything. Alright. First things first. Strip everything off this puppy. And let's put her to bed.
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
We'll get her stored away for now. And we'll start making our way down the list. Warhawk. Get your armor patched up. As for right now, these MI heavies. The MI heavies. What to do with you guys? I pull the laser insulator. That leaves us with about 5 tons. And that's a lot of ammunition here. I was mentioning that maybe this thing might be better with a belly full of battle computers. And I'm not going to disagree to that one. Let's pull that FCS Predator off there. You put a ballistic. Gunnery. Heat. Recoil. Tactics. Well, these upper recoils. Get those installed. And in reality, these Rack 5s, they only start gaining recoil +1 for every shot above 4. This should actually be able to run at full spin each time it shoots. We are wildly overcooling. And that still gives us...
This is a all ship announcement. The mech lab will be closing down for maintenance at 0830. If you're not the commander or a member of the engineering team, stay out and give the all clear.
600 meters. Just for the accuracy bonus. Would pulses be the option? How do we put ER mediums in here? Only 6 more damage. ER mediums are better at range. And they're closer to the racks. But all this is cluster. There's a lot of ammunition in this machine. Again, obviously be running the precision ammo as our base ammunition. Flak for any sort of air units to show up. And the double bin of rack when we run out of precision. And there is no AMS on this machine. That's 2 tons compared to the 1.5. And yes, I will be switching the AR-24 sheath beacon out for the AR-12 on the Jag. Just as a heads up, so we're not going to touch that. Will the AR-24 be better on the Warhawk? Not really. You have gunnery already built into the cockpit. I guess I do have access to Patrick again, don't I? I do. So let's make this work. Don't want to slave units. You know what? I am going to go ER mediums for these. Still good on heat. Better on tonnage. And I might still put that patchwork in anyways and see what else we have for a battle computer. That extreme range one might be pretty good. So if we're engaging people on the upwards side of 600, around 500 meters, and that would give us a +2 accuracy to that. And of course, I'd also like AMS. That's an additional ton. Thermal exchanger back on, brings us back up to -9 delta. So we lost a little bit of damage in theory, but again, that's only counting half damage off the racks. And I think having the AMS is better than having the extreme range for now, anyways. I think that's what I'm going to go with.
On it.
Oh my, yes, this is going to be very expensive too, just so everyone's aware. Ryoken, what is our end game with you? Well, at some point, I want to pull this double XL gyro. And I want to replace these ATMs with IATMs. These IATMs give us 2 vision, pips ignored, and +1 accuracy. The regular ones are only 1 and 1. +1 direct fire hit. Oh, the IATMs don't actually have the direct fire bonus. Interesting. Very interesting. Also interesting, we do have another laser AMS. Take 2 slots, though. And the only place it'll work is right in the head. So I could go back and take off the Warhawk. Or, because we are fighting clanners, I can just bide my time until we get more laser AMS clan units. And then maybe make the switch then. But for right now, there's no need to make any changes to the Ryoken. We'll just max up our armor, get everything repaired, and validate that.
Logged and noted.
6W Archer. I don't think you had anything wrong with you, didn't you? And there's another AR-24 that should be switched out at some point with an AR-12 when we do get more. We already have 1 laser insulator installed here, but we actually don't have any other room, do we? Yeah, and our heat's already an issue. We do have some internal heat sinks, though, but we can only put 1 in due to the core size. So that does free us up a little bit of room. little bit more overweight. Not really dealing with the heat issues the way I wanted to. But this thing actually does bring a fair bit of damage to the table, so I don't really want to make too many changes here. In fact, I don't think I will. All that and our delta stayed the same. So yeah, there's no point in changing anything at the moment. Which is kind of weird. Why did our delta stay the same? No, 7 heat. Still 7 heat. Oh, 4 heat. Okay, so it wasn't staying the same, but it's still not... It's a little better, but not worth the half ton. And I do not have enough room to slide in T3. If I even had a spare T3. No, just T2. That requires 2 slots. And we're already on reduced armor as is, so no. We're not going to make any changes to just 6W, not yet. Again, it's running good. We won't make any changes. Now, the P2 Archer, you don't actually have a slave unit. That's kind of an oversight. Kind of an oversight that we need to fix. So we need 800 for 10 Alpha Strikes. That requires all the bins we got currently installed right now. We can switch this out and put a +2 in. Pull that, free us up some room. And then be 0.5 over. We could equip Patchwork Tier 2. And you don't have any AMS either. God, I would love I would wildly love a longbow. Or a slightly larger LRM boat. And yes, there have been some suggestions too on the last videos about maybe making some changes to that one. We do need more indirect fire, I'm not gonna lie. The Lance is kind of suffering from that one. Having only really one 70-ton LRM boat is not ideal. There's been suggestions too for mortars. I think that's actually not too bad. Mortars, towards the end of the last run, we actually did a pretty good push for those. Took us a while to get used to it, but we did find a spot for it, and it was actually not bad. Slave in the side torso, so that way if we can... That's not like we can, because we don't really have a whole lot of room. Those guys kind of balance itself out a little bit better. But the Predator, is that a good one? Where's our indirect too? Right here. We could install an indirect too. That would make our indirect attacks significantly better. Ideally, anyways. But then again, too, these are pretty nice. Extreme range and long range, +2s. And we are kind of fitted out for direct line of engagement. I think we just leave this one as is.
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
Rifleman Legend Killer. Oh baby, what a machine. What a machine. This one, I think... Actually, I'm going to go back to the Bane here.
On it. I'll let you know when that's done.
And I'm going to do a test. I can't recall if this thing actually allows us to do it or not. It does. And we're already wildly accurate with the Tracker Mark IIs. And the bonus to FCS ballistics. That's a flat bonus with ballistic weapons. So it's kind of a moot point, I guess it is. If you sit there and look at an FCS Predator, where you get the +2s at extreme long and minimum range, but only +1 at medium range. Another one of these would be very nice. Could currently kill the recoil with no accuracy bonus for 1.4 tons to try and, you know, prep a little bit ahead, I guess is the right word for it. Delta's good. But the tonnage. The tonnage. I only got patchwork 1. So right now, we don't have the ability to really field that. We get some more patchworks. Maybe find a second upper recoil plus, or God forbid a double plus. That'd be great. Then we could probably field something a little bit better. But for now, the Rifleman is actually doing really good. In fact, if we find more of these Legend Killers, or potentially a Legend Killer 2, it's certainly on the table for maybe we grab one of those, we build it, and we field it. Now comes the big one. Ebon Jaguar B. Let's have a look at you. First things first, let's pull that sheath. Get the 12 installed. What can we do for you? Lower, obviously. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. Go ahead and get that +1 accuracy back. Currently, we're running a mask. In reality, that's probably about all the weapon systems we're going to get installed on here, isn't it? We got any more AP? We got the battery. And we have mag shots. We could technically. Things I think we're actually using too much ammo for our current setup for AP Gauss, or just enough?
Not allowed to board the Argo. If you're out on shore leave and you see something fluffy,
That might be not enough at the moment. Might need another bin.
it doesn't belong on a dropship.
How about our battle computers? Not really running anything with recoil. Heat is pretty close. Gunnery we could save. Piloting would be nice bonuses. Again, a slick sweep would be good, but we kind of ruined that one the last time, so I don't think we have much of a choice.
Picked up on flyers. If you have it, please dispose of it immediately.
No. We might actually not make the changes just yet. We might actually go back to our second Jaguar. And let's have a little bit of fun here, shall we? Pull all of our ammo off. Keep the laser AMS though. And the tagger. Alright. So that being said, what do we have? Bring that up to 368 damage. Still 10 tons remaining. Let's make sure the armor's maxed. There we go. Alright, so technically speaking, we could field it now. Tagger, 1.5 tons. Do we have a separate system? Ooh, light tag. It's only 0.5 tons. Are there any bonuses here? Aside from the damage it provides? At 600 meters, what's the light tag? 360. 540. Currently at 15 heat. We got just shy of 4 tons to play with. We could add some pulses, I guess. Those are 1 ton. They're all 1 tons. These micros, where are the micros? Micropulse. Already at 3. So if we do the micros for battle armor. We could actually maybe do the small pulses. Well, that is 400% damage against battle armor. It's only 200%. The same damage. But the range is kind of a hit and miss on that one. Range is a problem. 180 meters versus 360. It'll double the range. That's 13 heat versus 4. I say we make that work. Okay, so that's actually kind of a good question. What do we do now? One more sync? Little armor on the legs, but not too bad. And seeing how we're going to be using this for a backstabber, being in range 180 meters doesn't sound too bad. I think that'd be alright. Let's validate this one.
Logged and noted.
And back to the B. Back to the B. I know I'm not going to forget. What can we potentially do to make this thing a little bit better?
Hey Doc, the work you put in on that front control is really paid off. Steering is buttery smooth.
You got no tag. How about that mask installed? I don't think I like the mask, honestly. Honestly, no. No, I think we'll be fine without. And then I could potentially, what are we looking at here? It's sneak in one internal. No, we already got +3, so we'll have to be just a regular heat sink. Just to make everything line up. I know that's probably been driving some guys crazy the last little bit. So the big question is, why would I remove the mask? Well, in case you haven't been watching the series, the mask is more of a liability because I'm a liability.
Samira, give me a sensor read. You picking anything up out there?
Negative, XO. Sensors clear.
It comes back to, what do we have here that could potentially be a problem or something we can add, make things a little better. Battle computers here, we already have a heat. We already have ballistic and injury, we have critical, and we have gunnery. Want to give this a little bit of extreme range? Ah! So I don't know if this is something that kind of snuck in that I didn't pay attention to before. There's now a stack limit of 6 battle computers for the called shot location modifier bonus. So no more just filling the belly full of battle computers and making it a terrifying monster. I can't recall if that was actually there before or not. If I give this extreme range, then we're looking at around 400 meters and up for the pulses. Yeah, around 400 and up for the AP Gauss. And the micros, 200 meters and up, I think. We already have a critical. I think the extreme range on this one would be alright. Yep. 12's in. Lowers on. More internals. We got 2 micros for battle armor. Yeah, the ER micros. Yeah. I'm gonna say sure. I'm gonna say sure, let's do that.
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
So, in theory, as of right now, this is our working lance. Marauder, Warhawk, Ryoken, 2 archers, Legend Killer, and 2 Jaguars. Marauder's still 24 days out. Which means we're probably going to burn the rest of this month doing nothing. We're getting our lance right back into fighting form again. Not much of a fan on that one, I'm going to say is probably the right word for it. But again, that's the issue with the 100-tonners. They're very, very expensive to run, very, very expensive to repair. And a right pain, let's be honest. That's why I love the 85 to 90 tonners. Like 85 is that sweet spot. 80 to 85 to 90, somewhere in there. 85 is that sweet spot, I guess is the right word for it. Because you're not quite there getting the full penalty for armor repair, and you're large enough where, yeah, technically speaking, you are kind of right at that assault level. But you also have the capability to field some pretty gnarly weaponry too. So, you know, is what it is on that one. Yes, it's going to be expensive. We did kind of cut our overall expenses down a fair bit, which is actually not too bad. But we are going to have to be focusing a little bit on money. And that's the way that one goes. Plus, I guess we're going to also have to see if our changes even did anything. Maybe it was just almost an hour here of just general shop maintenance. Who knows? It is what it is. So, as promised, there is your shop day. I know some people probably would have enjoyed it. I know there's others people who have been quite vocal about spending the time in the shop and doing the tweaks and the overall changes and everything. You know, why we do what we do. You know, the best answer I can give for those people, if it's not your thing, I fully understand it. RogueTech is a very intense mod for BattleTech. BattleTech itself does, you know, a little bit of shop time, a little bit of time tweaking and making changes, but it's nowhere near as extensive as what RogueTech is. So all I can say on that one is if you don't like that micromanaging aspect of it, don't throw the game itself under the table for it. BattleTech, the base game, does kind of balance more out and focus more on battles than what it does in the back end for the shop. There's still that aspect of it, obviously, but you're not sitting there looking at thousands and thousands of different types of parts and minor tweaks and everything else like that. The base game of BattleTech does focus more on, you know, giving you an opening door into the mechanical side of things, but more focused on battles and stories. So I would suggest that if you're interested in checking it out, don't let RogueTech be your example of how difficult this game could be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is unfortunately all the time we have for today. I know I talked about trying to field something. I don't actually have the time to go ahead and do it today. So I guess our test is going to be Tuesday. Hey, Tuesday test day. Thank you very much, everybody who stuck it out to the end here, just watching me mutter to myself and click buttons and drag things around. Obviously, again, just like before, if you happen to have any suggestions for the changes we made, I'd love to hear it. We don't have a lot of options when it comes down to
see it down here in the hole.
what is available for mechs at the moment. There's Timberwolves and Archers. That's all we have the parts for. And a Salamander battle armor. That's about it. So, just keep that in mind. That's all I ask, is that if you're putting suggestions together, mention that it's going to be like a long-term goal. Don't say, hey, like, why don't you have a sick 100-ton LRM boat? Because we don't have the parts. Or how come you don't have a ballistic focus insane machine? Well, we don't really have the parts. Even the Bane itself.
Hey, Commander. Be with you in a second.
It can field a lot. What are we looking at for mortars? 3. I think that's what we got. Yeah. That's about it we got for mortars and indirect fire, so yeah. We do have LRMs, so there is that possibility we find something a little bit better. Then she's certainly going to work. We do have Thunderbolts as well, but Thunderbolts are kind of one of those hit and miss problems. Either they're really good or they're really bad, but you really got to focus on indirect fire for those. And again, we're still kind of working on it. But we are going to keep an eye out for some parts. Anything cool and exciting comes up, we are going to try and focus on that. But like I said, that's future issues. So for right now, everybody, thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to support the channel at all, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment on down below. And in the meantime, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, all.
I'm inbound on your starboard. 7 high tech. Eat this, toaster. Target acquisition is screwed. Give me manual controls now.